Bread. You've seen it, you've eaten it, and you love it. This guy really loves it. Whoa. Over millennia, this simple mixture of flour and water has risen to become an essential part of the human story. And in the process, bread has taken on symbolic meanings well beyond our plates. And some of these meanings are rather unexpected.
Surprise! I'm a nerd. I mean, admittedly, I am a nerd. I'm a very proud bread nerd. Oop, I've lost my grains. I'm an archaeologist who recreates Greek and Roman breads using archaeological, pictorial, and literary evidence. Bread it's a symbol of our survival. We moved from hunters and gatherers into farmers, and we learned how to make very basic bread, which originated just as a mashed pulse of grain, and then we figured out how to cook it into porridge, and then we figured out how to bake it. Then we figured out how to ferment it, and now we've got this beautiful product. My trusty starter here, this is Marcus Attilius. He's named after a gladiator because he's that way. He's pretty crazy. I'll put him somewhere and cover him up with a damp rag, and we'll let Marcus Attilius go to work on him. Being an archaeologist, I start with archaeology. For example, at Pompeii, we have the carbonized breads that were left behind. And you also have other forms of complementary evidence, such as Greek ancient literature. So Demeter's daughter is a roll, it's a bread roll. And Athenaeus, who is a Greek writer in the 2nd century, describes the bread as the kneaded roll, Demeter's daughter, draws its hollow cleft along, made by the pressure of a finger to look like a triremes ram, the best introduction to dinner. In Greek and Roman literature, there's often a double entendre in there with respect to seeding, sowing, and harvesting the fields. And we thought that not only is it a loaf of bread that is shaped like a trireme, a Greek worship, but also has the involvement of fingers drawing clefts along. Maybe it was also representative of female anatomy. This is about foreplay. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll keep him right at the front. Keep her, keep right at the front. This is too hot. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. In the modern day, a lot of us will neglect this beautiful thing that's on our countertops that is actually like having archaeological evidence in our kitchens of how we learn to process starch and cook it in order to feed us for another day. And this is Demeter's Daughter 2.0. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Oh, look at that. I love that.
Around the same time that Athenaeus wrote about Demeter's daughter, the Roman emperor used to give out free bread to the people of Rome. And not much has changed since. Politicians still obsess over the price of bread to sell themselves as a true people's leader.
How much is the price of value bread?
Value bread?
Yes.
I can tell you the price of a bottle of champagne. How about that?
Well,
is that the kind of...
some more than others. But bread also makes an appearance at protests against inflation or income inequality. And bread is the ultimate political symbol for a 60-year running theatre troupe that lives and works out of this bus.
We consider ourselves to be possibilitarians. There are 1,000 possibilities for how the world could be. As puppeteers, we are always experimenting with puppets. The same way with politics and economy, we need to have experimentation into all the possible ways that we can live together on the earth.
All right, on your mark. Get set.
Peter and Elka, the founders of the theater, tried to give away free bread in New York in the 60s, and people wouldn't accept it. They thought something must be wrong with it if it was free. And so then they had to make puppet shows as a way to be able to give away free bread. If you served the bread after the show, then people would trust that it was okay to eat.
A brief history of reparations. An idea a long time coming.
Haiti, where I am from, is a country that has done this revolution anti-slavery, anti-colonialism.
The order 1 year later.
Independence is not something you have indefinitely. It's something we have to keep fighting. What I did today is a tribute to our ancestors in Haiti. We use theater to protest, to send a message. We consider theater as this place where we connect to each other. And also, of course, bread as a primary food is a way that we connect.
Thank you so much.
Some people keep bread-making traditions alive for generations. Just like a good sourdough starter. Is that it? And for a final stop, meet Jackie. She has been wrestling with dough for years, trying to preserve and perfect a family tradition that is a symbol of her ancestors' cooking.
I learned the basics of flour tortillas from my grandmother. She was a taskmaster. She was a little softer with me because I was her favorite granddaughter. But when I tried to turn a flour tortilla with a spatula, that was it. When I met my husband, Bob, I would tell him stories about my family, the Rancho family, which goes back all the way to 1776 in California. My great-great-great-great-grandfather came up with the Anza Party, and where they lived as soldiers was northern Mexico, where wheat was grown. Flour tortilla is like many breads, is almost like their survival. Even over a flat cast iron griddle on a campfire, they could make the flour tortilla. It could always be with them. So it kind of became a symbol of the rancho cuisine that I've written about. Every family had their own recipes. Maybe a family liked their tortillas thick as a saddle, or they liked their tortillas thin and delicate, which is what my family liked because they did a stretching. And you worked till you mastered it. No spatulas allowed on the comal. My grandmother had a wonderful comal, which is what the griddle is called. And it was pretty large, and everybody in the family fought over where it was going to go when something happened to Grandma. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. They probably hid it. As I was learning how to hand stretch flour tortillas and make them nice and thin, they would end up hanging over the Mexican comal. And so my husband had the idea. He said, just take a wok and flatten it out. And they came and they were beautiful. And then everybody wanted a flat wok. And then we discovered a sawed-off broomstick. They're like the key to making thin flour tortillas. So between the sawed-off broomstick and the flat wok, we've made it. Probably what the flour tortilla means to me is it tastes good, especially when it's hand done and everything. And it means a lot in the smaller sense of my family because they prize it so much. So I'm not only preserving history, but history's got to taste good too. But I couldn't resist.
She talks, I eat.
Oh, okay, so you're almost finished. Yeah, you guys have to try these before they get cold.
Yeah.
You go.